Paul, Haliburton said he would play in that game over and over. Do you agree with his mindset?
1,000%, as Key might say. It's the game. Listen, this is everything for the marbles. One game to go. If you told me, listen, if you play in this game, you may never play another NBA game again, I still would have did it. I still would have did it. If you say, I'll never play another game in the NBA again, if I play in this one game, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, I would have still played in that game because it would have meant that much, because winning a championship or getting to a finals or getting in this situation may never happen again. Mm-hmm. And so it's no regret, and I hope he doesn't have any regret. And I know the type of person, just hearing from his interviews, he just sounds like he doesn't have regret. Anybody with any sense of like pride or competitive drive would have played in that game no matter what. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate that this did happen. But like I said, if I just knew for the game of my life and the Game 7 in the NBA championship moment, even if somebody said, hey, Paul, you're going to tear your Achilles tonight if you play in this game, but I got a chance to win the championship, it's a no-brainer for me. I still would have did it.
I think the sentiment across the board from all athletes is going to be, why are we even having this conversation? Of course I'm playing in the game. You know, like Paul said, if it was the career and all that and this, that, and other, I got my guaranteed money, so I'm okay over there. Yes,
Right.
I'm playing.
The guaranteed money, not just the money. Right?
Yeah, you got whatever his contract is, $200-something million, whatever it is. But all jokes aside, of course you play. You go out there and you play in game.
What if
7.
you didn't have your guaranteed money?
You still go out there and you play, because that's what we do. That's what we do. And in football, famously, Ronnie Lott cut off his finger to play in the Super Bowl. Just to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that.
So think about that. We'll do what it takes to get to the ultimate prize. You know, that's just, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll worry about rehabbing later on. We'll worry about what ifs, all that later on. At the end of the day, we want to win a championship. We want to be in that, you know, that velvet rope. We want to get past that. That's what we play the game for. Guys that don't have rings, that play, they get teased a lot. And it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good, right? So I didn't mean that.
Hey, you and Paul got one. That's how you gonna do it.
I didn't mean to do you like that.
How it didn't land there?
Yeah,
No, I didn't mean. I forgot. I forgot you wasn't in Seattle.
No, but I'm telling you,
Yeah, right.
like I missed a Super Bowl by 2 seasons. One with Seattle and one with the Ravens also.
But when I was thinking about it, I was thinking Seattle, and I'm like, as I'm talking, I'm like,
Nah, it was
he wasn't in
next
Seattle.
year. Yeah.
It was the next year. Yeah. But in all honesty, though, that's the truth, though.
Yeah. Would you have played in?
Any athlete, like, your whole life is for that moment, and the moment is a championship. How many times you've been at the park, or you've been a 5, 4, 3, 2, down 1 point, you make the shot to win the championship, or you catch this touchdown. You just do that as a kid, just messing around. And so to be an adult and have those aspirations that you dreamed of as a kid, you have to go for it. The unfortunate part is he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt.
But if he doesn't get hurt, we may have a new NBA championship the way he was playing in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. And so everybody that plays sports, they gonna give it a go. You don't want to get hurt, but you giving it a go.
But getting hurt is also, that's a part of the game. Like, I know Paul says he didn't have any major injuries. Like my brother, most of his injuries, he was able to rehab during the off season. But like, you're going to hurt something.
You play long enough.
You had major injuries?
I mean, if you broke ankle, I mean, I didn't.
Oh yeah, that's major.
I didn't miss no time. Though it was at the end of the season.
Yeah, I didn't have any either.
Yeah, but you had some injury that you had to play through at some point.
Yeah.
You're playing hurt all the time, so that's a given anyway. So the risk of getting hurt, you're doing that every time. Every time you step into the facility, you're risking getting hurt. Every time you practice, you're risking getting hurt. So of course you're going to play in the game. But you all had teammates though that you would say were not. Everybody doesn't play for the same reasons.
If they're a starter on a team though, and they're one of your better players, they playing. They play. I mean, because he talked about how Ronnie Lott I mean, T.O. broke his leg.
Yeah, he
broke
got
his
out
ankle.
there, yeah.
And he went out and played, was it 5 weeks later?
Yeah,
6
he
weeks
did.
later?
Sure, yeah.
In a Super Bowl. Anybody that's a starter that you count on,
Yeah.
they playing.
Yeah, they don't want to leave. You don't want to leave your teammates out there, hang them out to dry. You just don't. You know what I'm saying?
But I just think also it's just so hard to get to that moment.
They may never,
like you may never get back.
Pacers may never get back.
Yeah.
He may never play in another NBA final in his career.
Well, the way things are going in the NBA, it's very likely. We've had different champions for the last 7 years in a row.
But I mean, he may never even get back to that position in the East or whatever to even be able to play in a game one, let alone a 7.
Yeah.
See, I can live with the pain of the injury than that pain of regret from not playing. I'm thinking about like, damn, if I don't play and we lose, I'm be like, damn, I'm gonna be thinking my whole career.
Chances are,
What if I would've played?
Right. If you don't play, you're going to lose. If you don't play.
Right.
No matter how much KG and Ray and Rondo and Doc, if you don't play though, they need you
For sure.
in the worst way.
Like they need Haliburton in the worst way.
In the worst way.
In the worst way.
All Hall of Famers I'm speaking of, but they got to have the other Hall of Famer out there to be able to close the deal. You see what I'm saying? Because we had, we was right there. We
I
just
couldn't live with myself.
But we're also just only having this conversation because he did get hurt. Like, and we know he was, dealing with this injury, a calf
Game 5,
injury
he hurt it.
throughout the playoffs. But that's what it is. You have to play.
Yeah, that's what comes with this.
Yeah. Paul, is Mike Brown an improvement for the Knicks?
I like to think so. Tibb did a remarkable job, of course, creating the culture, winning, getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals. But it's one thing, Mike, just like Tibbs, Mike Brown brings a championship pedigree. As an assistant, he's a 4-time champion, just like Tibbs was. He was a champion on my Boston Celtics team as a top assistant. And this guy, Mike, he's 2-time coach of the year. And like I've said in the past, he's great with the media. He's going to be able to handle the pressure on the sidelines. He's a player's coach, not a coach's coach for the most part. And the only thing is that I don't like about the Knicks job is just the stability. How many years does he get? Mm-hmm. Because if they don't get to the NBA Finals, I think this is a 3-year window for him because that's pretty much
how long was Tibbs there?
Tibbs was there 5 years. He was coaching there longer pretty much than anybody.
And they weren't very good when he got there.
So I'm just thinking the window for Mike is probably 3 years. If he makes it to 5, that means they would have won a championship or have gotten to the finals. Because when you look at all the head coaches, and I'm not quite sure off the top of my head, since the year 2000 till today, I think they had about, I think about 15 head coaches. Think about that. 15
It's a lot.
coaches in 25 years. It's a lot of coaches out there. It's like
the
13.
Raiders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but I like the fact that you got somebody with experience, you got somebody who's respected, you got somebody who's won, and somebody who's been in great cultures, such as Golden State, such as the system he created in Sacramento, turning that organization around. Because you see where it is now since he's left. So I like the hire. I like what he's going to be able to do for Brunson. I think they need to change the system, and I think he was going to be able to implement a system that benefits the talent around them because it just seemed like a Brunson-ran offense to where, it's a lot of pick and rolls, and, they have a lot of talent on the Knicks. And I truly believe he'll put in an offense that'll implement. And right now is the window. The truth is, the window is now, because think about it, the East, this is a 2-team race. Maybe 3. I'm throwing Orlando in there because I like their young core. But the Knicks, this is the window of opportunity. If they don't get it done, if they don't get it done this year coming up, I truly believe that window is going to close because Boston is going to be better the year after. I don't know what's going on in Philly, though. That's an interesting one because they got some good young players. Embiid's coming back. Paul George could come back better. That's the wild card in the East. But they got to get it done now or never. But I love what Mike Brown is bringing to the table. It's definitely an improvement for the New York Knicks.
They've had 14
14
coaches, including interim coaches, since 2000.
See, I told you around there.
The Raiders.
14 coaches in 25 years.
Yeah, I like it for him, though. It's a good situation. I know the pressure's on him because of what the Knicks were able to do a year ago, but like Paul said, that window's there. Top guy in Boston, down. Top guy in Indy, down. Top guys in Philly, been down. You start to look at Milwaukee, down. So you start looking at that. You start eliminating those top 4 or 5 teams in that conference immediately. Now it comes down to maybe Cleveland and Orlando, and maybe there's somebody else that I'm not thinking about that's standing around that could give some trouble. He's a player-friendly coach. Okay, so that's a plus. Now, when you start talking about the same type of guy, though, defensive-minded coaches, Tibbs, gonna run you in the ground, right? Run you in the ground. Tibbs, 32.7 per game in minutes of his players. Mike Brown, 31.9.
To the starters.
I mean, that's the same to the starters. That's the same. One was number 3 in the league, one was number 4 in the league in terms of running their players in the ground. Now, if the system changes from Brunson to whatever they're doing, it doesn't really matter because he still believes in keeping his main guys on the floor. That, to me, is the biggest problem that the Knicks had. Those guys' tongues was literally on the floor in some of those games to the point where, they're exhausted. You could look at them and you could tell. So maybe being an outsider like Mike Brown, because he's a good basketball coach, he didn't get a lot of credit in Cleveland because no one gets the credit when LeBron James is on your team. It's just not going to happen. But you saw what he was able to do in Sacramento. The Lakers are a tough job no matter who you are. Phil Jackson was able to do what he did because he won championships. If Phil wasn't winning championships, they'd have ran Phil ass out of here too. So you have to think about that situation in New York. But I think he's a good coach and he should be okay there. He should.
It's an upgrade. And if you look at just Mike Brown's journey, he was under Popovich, and that's where he got his defensive identity. And then he evolved when he went there to Steve Kerr. And offensively, he's kind of changed what he wanted to do, what he learned from Popovich. And so when he went to Sacramento, they were getting up and down the court. Sacramento, they didn't have the depth that the Knicks are going to have. So I believe he's not going to play his starters heavy minutes. The offense will be different. He's going to get up and down the court because coaching with Steve Kerr, he saw a different viewpoint, a different way of, we can play NBA basketball this way, getting up and down the court. Now, is Brunson, Cat, and those guys going to want to play that way because they've been playing a slower tempo game? They're going to have to adjust the way they play. But I believe 100% he has to win. You fire a coach that gave you your best season in 25 years, this got to be championship or bust. There's no other choice. When you fire Tibbs, and this was the best season that you had in 25 years, Mike Brown has no choice. And it's what Paul said. It's there for the taking. I actually think the Hawks are going to be better also. With the additions that the Hawks have added this year. The Hawks are going to be a better basketball team this year.
I think, he's more than qualified for the job, and I think he'll do a nice job with the media, and he's a little more of a player's coach than a coach. Mm-hmm. But Tibbs did a lot in New York.
He sure did.
Like, he did a really nice job in New York. He got them to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. He had a lot of success there.
He didn't deserve to be fired.
He didn't deserve to be fired, but he's fired now.
Yeah.
And Mike Brown is there. And what worries me is that he doesn't have any wiggle room. Where can you go? Like, they have to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You better.
You got at least.
I don't think they have to go back. We're saying they have to go back.
They just fired Tibbs.
But it is unrealistic, though, Paul. It's unrealistic to think just because somebody else went that a new coach is getting ready to bring you in and take you and put you over the top.
We're talking about the New York Knicks.
I understand.
Realistic is not in the conversation.
Yeah, but they got, you mean New York, not necessarily even the Knicks, just New York.
With this owner, with the history that they have, the expectations that they have, and now the expectations have actually been set because they went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
But you can't expect for a guy to come in that's going to run his own system, do it his way, to all of a sudden it's going to be either better or the same. You just can't expect that.
I can tell you the hell they do.
Well, that's shame on them.
Why else would you fire him?
It's shame on them.
Steve Kerr did it with Golden State, came right in.
Yeah, but Golden State, but Paul, Golden State didn't go to the Western Conference Final that year.
The year before.
They were on their way.
They was well on their way.
They were on their way.
Yeah, just like the Knicks is on their way. They knocking at the door. The same thing.
Now it's a reboot.
Yeah, same thing.
They do not see it as a reboot.
No, he gonna get the first year because you're not gonna fire a coach after the first year.
Well,
But if they don't make it
we've
to at
seen a
least
lot
the
of teams do
conference
that.
after the first year, after
Yeah.
you fire the coach, hire the coach,
think what
then
Phoenix,
fire them
Phoenix
again.
been doing.
I would not even be remotely surprised if the Knicks did
Wow.
that. I
Yeah,
would
the
not even be
money-
remotely surprised. Because that's what the Knicks do. Now, I'm not saying he would deserve it at all. I think
that
you
would
should
be
I think you
ridiculous,
should give
though.
coaches way more runway than they do. But that's the only thing that concerns me about this job.